Health coaches are not struggling to get clients and failing because they don't know how to coach or they don't care. They're struggling because they're focusing on the wrong things and they're missing a roadmap. People might have told them how to coach or how to help people be healthy, or they might have figured that out on their own, but they don't know how to create this type of business. And so today I'm going to show you the six-figure health coach roadmap. How do you go from 0 to 6 figures without paid ads, burnout, social media hamster wheels, and without sacrificing your health, family, and relationships? A lot of the people that I've helped go from 0 to 6 figures, me being the original, but helping many people now, they often have some health challenges. They can't afford to burn out. And so could you get to 6 figures burning yourself out with expensive paid ads and just posting constantly? Yeah, maybe, but there's a better way. So what I want to teach you today is there's 5 steps, and we're going to walk through each of these 5 steps so you'll know exactly what you need to do and in what order, and the 3 pillars that you must have if you're going to create a successful practice, and especially a 6-figure practice. So let's dive in. So if we're going to do this without burning out, we need to get to the root cause. A lot of you as health coaches and as functional medicine practitioners, you get the importance of getting to the root. So let's take a look at weight loss, for example. You can do the GLP-1 medications, the Ozempics, and you can lose fat, but you can also lose muscle, and there's other side effects. So you're doing this trade-off. Now, when you help somebody lose weight, you get to the root cause, you decrease inflammation. And so as the inflammation goes down, then yes, they lose weight. So that's what they want. But instead of having this trade-off, you'll have more energy, they'll have improved mood, their sleep will be better, their mental clarity will be better. All of these things get better. Their life gets better overall. So they don't have to do that trade-off. Most health coaches, and if you think about this, if somebody came to you tomorrow and said, I want to be your client, what would you offer them? Take a moment right now, and by the way, grab a notebook. You're going to want to take notes here. So if you haven't done that yet, pause it, grab a pen, grab a notebook. And what would you offer a client? And a lot of people will say, I'd charge $20 an hour, $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $200, $500 an hour. This many sessions, 12 sessions for 1,000, 10,000, whatever it is. Okay, what is that? And that's that first thing that we're going to talk about is an offer. That's what you have to offer. And we're going to come back to an offer. Now, at the very core of it, which if you're not already reaching about a ceiling of 40K and realizing, wait a minute, I can never get to a 6-figure practice from here, you might not have stumbled on it yet. So you might not know if you were successful at doing what you're doing, you ain't getting to your 6 figures anyways, and you're going to get to burnout. So we're going to talk about that, because when you're trading time for money, it's like the GLP-1s. So as your income goes up, so the problem is, as your income goes up, when we're trading time for money, as your income goes up, we'll put a dollar sign here, your time, your free time goes down, right? And so when your free time goes down, then your health can suffer, your relationships can suffer, and there's this trade-off, right? Your freedom, the freedom to do what you want suffers. And so we're doing this dance much like the weight loss example with when we don't get to the root cause. Instead, if we do something different, and I'm going to share with you in a moment what that is, if we, instead of trading time for money, if we get to the root cause and design your program to deliver excellent results. I teach my clients, excellence is our strategy. Excellence is your strategy. When you deliver excellent results by having a business model that gets to the root, I'm going to share with you what that is, then as your business grows, as your income goes up, but not only that, you've got more free time, more time, more income, more impact. Your relationships are better. everything gets better. So instead of doing this trade-off, everything gets better. So what we want to do is get to the root and build your business right from the start. Absolute game changer. So many examples to share. Three of my multiple six-figure health coaches recently, about 6 weeks ago, came to me and said, I love my life. I love my life. That's what I want. And they're all building slightly differently, but they're following the same premise and the roadmap that I'm going to teach you today. They're following that same blueprint. Martita, for example, she's in Argentina. She's helped over 500 people since we've worked together. Amazing practice. She is booking into 2 or 3 months out always. She's always sold out. She has people trying to become her clients 2 to 3 months out. In January, I remember her saying, I'm going to take 10 clients this month, and she ended up taking 23. So we have a solution for that. But having more people wanting in than you have spots for, you're in demand. It's a great place to be. You get to pick and choose. So she works so she's not burning out, because remember I said without burnout. She's in the point where she's taking July off and November and December off. So she works, loves her clients, loves what she's doing. In July, she's taking this special next level yoga class in Brazil because she can. And she gets to work with who she wants, when she wants, how she wants, from where she wants. That's her version. Sherry sees her clients in the morning, and she recently bought a horse. And in the afternoon, she goes riding and taking care of her horse. And she's like, I love my life. It's good. I love it. Connie, she has 5 kids. She has her practice. Then 4 o'clock hits. She loves to cook. She loves her family and cooking for her family. Oh, I'm sure all of you love your family, but not everybody loves to cook, but she does. And so for her, what looks like success for her is at 4 o'clock, she closes her office and it's all about her family. She makes the meals. She goes for a walk after dinner with her husband. She loves her life. So what I want is to have your version of that. But if we're trading time for money, then if we want to go from 50,000 to 100,000, we're going to need to work twice as hard. These guys, they're not working harder than you, but they're making a greater income, and most of all, they're making a greater impact than you. They're helping more people more. If we had time, the amazing stories of the things that they've done with their clients, soul satisfying. That's what I want for you. So income goes up, impact comes up, but we can't do it if we're trading time for money. You just can't get there. I learned the hard way. I was a medical doctor for 25 years, left, become a health coach because I'm like, I want help people get to the root of that. I struggled for 10 years. It cost me $100,000 to figure this out the hard way. I was working 100 hours at the hospital. I had 4 kids in 5 years. I was busy. And in that, I'm trying to eke out my little health coaching practice. It was a struggle. So I figured it out the hard way. It's not going to take you 10 years and it's not going to cost you $100,000. But it's kind of like this whole thing is a maze. And right now you think you're building your practice, but you're off in one of these. There's about a dozen traps that people fall into that have them stuck. So we're not going to trade time for money. We're going to be talking about what are we going to do in place. But a lot of times people say, well, I just need to have more certifications. That's what I need because I'm not confident. And so if I knew more, then I'd get the clients. Nope. You ever learn something and then the more you knew you didn't know? Like before I was in medical school, you think you're really smart in biology class in grade 12 and you're like, I know lots about the human body. And then as you dive in, you're like, I know nothing. And so the more that I knew as I went from intern and residency throughout my medical career, the more I knew I didn't know. And so if confidence is because you know things, doing more certifications does not lead to that. It's kind of like driving your car, learning how to drive a car. You can learn, yes, get your certification, yes, get the basics down, the first one, absolutely, know what you're doing. But if you're trying to learn how to drive a car and you're nervous about it, You read the manual, you know how to do it, you go to your driver's ed or whatever. But if you never get behind the wheel, that you're gonna get more nervous, not less. More time, just it aggravates, it goes in the other direction. But once you get behind the wheel, and you first time you're going to have to think about everything, put it in drive, make sure we've got it in shoulder check, all the things, the seatbelt, the everything. Eventually, you have confidence because you're doing it, you're driving it. Now, the thing is, if you're driving with the wrong roadmap and you're here at zero as a health coach, and we just start to wing it in our path and hope we get there, we might be broken, burned out. Out of the 95% of the people that come, we have thousands of people coming asking for my help. If you're an IINer, love my IINers. I went to IIN many moons ago. I am one of their visiting professors. So people know me from there. People know me from my books. People know me from my YouTube channel. And so we have thousands of people coming asking for help. And of those 95% of health coaches, have zero paying clients. They have a burning desire. They really want to help people. And then the other 5% are burning out because they did that trading time for money. A great example of the problem with trading time for money is Karen Mitchell. So she came to us. She was earning 40K, $40,000 as a health coach. Some of you are like, that's all I want. That'd be great. And she was getting referrals because out of a natural medicine clinic that she was able to be in. And some of you are like, that's my dream. That's all I want. And when she came to us, she's like, I just want to go for a walk. I can't keep slogging away. And she realized what I realized, 40K, if you're trading time for money, you're going to hit a ceiling and it's a wall. You can't get to six figures trading time for money without burning out. It just can't do it. So, but you can get there. We're going to go through. So then she went and got her national board exams. While she was there, she met this woman who was earning 100,000, and she was living in a tiny, tiny town in Montana. She had 5 kids, and they're like, and that woman didn't look like she was breaking a sweat. And she's like, what does that woman know that I don't know? And that woman was Rachel. And Rachel was the first health coach that I helped to go from 0 to 6 figures in the year. And so Karen became our client. We worked with her in the Health Professional Academy. And over the course of the year, we took the different offerings. We're going to talk about that I'm going to be doing a series here, a teaching series. We took that and we reframed it from what she was doing that was burning her out, and she can't get to that 6-figure practice from there. We brought it into that signature offer, more importantly, a series and a flow. And in the year, she reached 6 figures. She was able to take a couple of weeks off and for a vacation. And she said, it's fun to see the income go up and the burnout go down. But most of all, her clients got better results, not worse, better results. Because instead of one-off sessions, instead of how many sessions does this money buy me, like instead of approaching it like that, we focused on excellent results. And so instead of leaving it to trial and error, we are going to go and show you how to go from 0 to 6 figures without burning out, working with who you want, when you want, how you want. All of our 6-figure health coaches have done it without paid ads. So it's possible. Some of our clients, like Connie, doesn't even have a social media account. So you can definitely do it without social media hamster wheels. But we got to get to the root cause and the offer. So there's a root cause, but we need to get to the root cause and the core principles. So let's do these 3 pillars. By the way, if you want more custom guidance in this, I just started offering these small group trainings, small group of people, like a handful, like 5 people and me. And You can share your unique situation and I can give you customized guidance. So if that's of interest to you, they're free, but you have to apply. We just want to make sure that the people in the group, they're people that are health coaches who really want to do this. And we'll structure that teaching for you to help you more. It's my way to help more people more beyond what we can in the free books, which I'll put some links below here, but I'll put a link for you to apply for one of those small group trainings. They're super fun. I love it. I love getting to meet you, talk to you. Then you know for sure I'm not AI, I'm a real person. And it's really, they've been doing them for the last little bit and people are loving them. Okay, so what are these three pillars? I want you to think of your health coaching practice like a stool. I am not an artist. I can do a number of things, and art is not one of them. Bear with me. This may look like an amoeba or something, but okay, a jellyfish. So pretend this is a stool. Work with me. And in order for you to get your business, even not even a six-figure business, but to have a viable business, there's three things that we need to have. We need to have an offer. We're going to talk about that. We need to have an offer. If you don't have it, so a lot of times I'll say, okay, if someone came to you tomorrow, how much would you charge? What would you offer? I'm going to say 65% of the time, people don't know. They're like, I don't know. I don't know how much to charge. I don't know how to package it. I don't know what I'm actually offering. Maybe it's even closer to 70%, but about that. So we need to have an offer. We're going to talk about what are the components of that offer. Once you have an offer, we need to find a way to attract people to what you offer. If we don't have a way to attract people to what you offer, you're the best kept secret. You're out of business. So the second thing that we need is a way to have a client attraction system. So we need to have a system that we can count on, that we don't have to rely on hope and a prayer. Nothing wrong with hope and a prayer, but we want something a little bit more systemized than that so that you can, sleep easy at night, love your life. Then once we've attracted people to what you offer, then we have to have a way to invite them into what you offer. So we have to have what I call heart-centered, doesn't have to be heart-centered for you to work, but I recommend a heart-centered diagnostic sales system. And these are the three pillars that you have to have, non-negotiable. And so people are working on posting more and certifications and websites, and they're spending all of that time and energy, and they might not have an offer, they might not have a niche, they don't have a way to attract people, and they don't have a way to invite them. Missing just one of these guarantees failure. A lot of people that we talk to, their business literally doesn't have a leg to stand on. Okay, so what we're going to do is the 5 core steps, and on each of these steps, I'm going to do a video that dives deeper into that. So I'll give you as much as I can, but so that this video is not like 10 hours long, I'm going to keep it as concise as I can. And then if you have a question about one of these, there will be a video that goes into each of those. All right, so we need to have an offer, an attraction system, and a sales system. That makes sense. Let's go here with number 1, offer. What do we need to have? I was going to put, we want to have a way to attraction system, and a sales system. Those are the 3 key things that we're just going to keep in mind. Let's look at the offer. What does that mean? Okay, the first part of your offer is we need to have a niche. I like to talk about a purpose-driven expert niche. So we're not just trying to get by. We're not doing this as a hobby. If you want a 6-figure health coaching practice, purpose-driven expert niche. What is that? I do PDEN for short. And so why do we even need a niche? Why bother? Because there are 65 million wellness practitioners. Why would they see you? And unlike if you work as a teacher or a doctor or a nurse and somebody says, hey, what do you do? If you say doctor, people know what that is. Teacher, they know what that is. They know if they're in need of one or not. If you say health coach, they're like, huh, you mean like a dietitian? You mean like a personal trainer? So this might change in the future, but right now people don't know what you really do or why they would want one. And if it's just about health, they're going to go to their doctor or the clinic for that. And they're not going to find you virtually at home. So we need a way to have your light pop, your light shine. So in this crowded marketplace, you stand out. So that purpose-driven expert niche is a combination of that intersection, that sweet spot of the things that you love to do. I'll do another video on how you determine what yours is. So those things that love to do, that you do even if they didn't pay you, and the things that you are good at. You're good at. You got a track record, you've done it for yourself or somebody else. And the sweet spot here is your purpose driven. That's a really crummy looking heart. Again, do not judge me by my artistic abilities, but that's supposed to be a heart. And this is their purpose-driven expert niche. Okay, so the thing that you love to do, that way, if you're doing a lot of it, it's okay because you love doing it. And when you're good at it, you're going to get great results. And some things there's just not a certification for. One of my clients, she got herself off of a kidney transplant list. There's no course for that, right? But she learned some things the hard way that is valuable. You've learned some things the hard way. I've never met an adult who hasn't learned some valuable things. Sometimes people are looking at their niche and they're focusing on the problem they have right now. They might be burnt out in this role and they're like, I'm going to help people who are burnt out in this role. You can't, because then you're going to feel like an imposter because you are. And so we want to find something that you are naturally good at. I'm going to do another video on niche in coming up. Okay, so we got to know who we're helping with what. And so what's their, I call it ideal client problem. Who's the ideal client? Teacher, nurse, busy mom, celiac sufferer, Crohn's sufferer. What is the ideal client problems? So what are the things that they're struggling with? Is it weight? Is it their energy? Is it their bloating, their gut health? What are the things that they are struggling with? What do they want? What's their dream come true? What's their dream come true? So, lean, energized, and, healthy gut, something like that. What are the things? And then why do they want it? Why? So what is the bonus benefits? And we'll talk more about that. But once we know who is that person that you help, what do you help them with? Then let's say their problem is point A and you're going to help them get to point B. So then we have to have a way to deliver. Step 2 is, so step 1 of these 5 steps is niche. Step 2, also part of the offer, is your signature program. Because if we're always making it up each time, you are going to customize it to everybody anyways. You're always going to customize this. Maybe you have strawberries and people are allergic to strawberries. We're going to say don't eat strawberries. So you're like always going to be customizing it to them. They might also have back pain. They might also maybe they only have one leg. So like you're going to customize it to everybody always. So, but you want a signature process. And that's one of the things that we did with Karen that allowed her to go from being burnt out at 40K to having 100K with ease. But if we're going from 40K to 100K with trading time for money, we got to work twice as much. And she already knew she couldn't, right? So we have to, one of those key things is we created a signature offer, which is your best way to help someone go from where they are now to where they want to be. What are those problems? Okay, so that's the second piece. How many sessions? What do we need to do? What do we need to include? That's that. You're going to get really good at it because we want repeatable, excellent results. If you deliver excellent results, you're in business. If you don't deliver excellent results, you're going to be out of business. Sooner or later, nobody's coming. All right. So that's the first step, the signature program. I'm going to run over to, I usually talk about this fifth, but the third part of the offer is part of the business model. And so we want to have a scalable business model. Scalable. Most are not scalable. Okay, scalable. Trading time for money is not scalable in the way that people are doing it as a coaching practice. It's not your fault. It's what 95% of coaches out there are doing. If you ask people, we ask people all the time, thousands of people, they're all saying the same thing. It's not wrong. It's just if you just want to help 10 people or help some friends out or do it as a hobby, fine. You can do it however you were taught. Um, and it's not the health coach school's fault that they said they were going to help you create help become a health coach, and they did. For me, I needed to replace a medical income. I needed 100K as my poverty line to offset all of the medical business expenses as I tried to break out on my own as my health coach, with my health coaching practice. That wasn't the health coach's problem. That was my problem. So my problem was, how do I earn six figures as a health coach? Most people weren't even looking to do that. To my knowledge, I'm the first six-figure health coach on the planet, because usually people weren't even thinking that was possible. But it is, and you can do it. Okay, but we can't do it with that other model. Let me show you something here. If we look at business, there's the whole supply and demand. Most health coaches, so the coaching practices, if you're here, it's a setup. There's a reason why you guys are all struggling, and it's like the wrong root cause business model. This will be very valuable for you to see. So if we have, a lot of you could say, I could take 5 clients this week. I'd love 5 clients. So you have lots of supply, lots of opening here, and very little demand, low demand. So when you have not a lot of people asking for your help and you could take more on and you're looking for clients, most of you are in this mode, which leads you to chase. You're chasing after clients, and it leads to struggle. That looks more angry than sad, but well, you might be angry, but it leads you to be struggling. On the other hand, flip the script over and we operate from this side of the equation. And so when we have lots of demand, so many people wanting in, very few spots, few supply, few spots. This is the exact situation that Martita, six-figure health coach Martita, remember, she's booked a few months out always. She says she's going to take 10 in January. She takes 23, but then she can't do that every month. So you have more people wanting in. We hear the reason that I'm doing those small group trainings, the reason I'm doing this is we have more people wanting in than we have spots for. We too sell out all the time now. And so there's different things you could do. I could just keep raising my price, but I know how hard it is for you guys to get started. I'm a champion for the underdog. I really know that you guys have got some learning that you learned the hard way. And I know that you had to go through that for a reason. And I'm like, as Wayne Dyer says, don't die with your music inside. Like, you gotta do it. You gotta scratch that itch. Not everybody's called to do this work, but if you are, you're going to have to do it. It just gets louder. You can't quit on your calling. I tried, right? It just got louder and more painful. So I don't want to raise the price, but what I can do is switch from chasing to choosing. I get to choose who I work with. So we work with the top 2% of people who are serious, who are coachable, or like, do that for me. You're like, I'm tired of the struggle, right? So just that flip, can you see how when you have a lot of people wanting your help, and more so than the spots that you have, that's valuable. For example, if you have 10 people wanting to buy one house, that price is going to go up. But if you have 10 buyers for one house, that price is going to go down. But if you have 10 buyers for one house, it is as is, where is. Like, you don't have to sell it. It literally sells itself, which starts to get to some of those other things. So that's the first thing. So how do you be in demand? How does that happen? How can you be one of these coaches like what we churn out at the Health Professional Academy? How can you be one of those ones that are in demand? So a couple of things will help you be in demand. Remember I said excellence is our strategy? Excellent results. Excellent results. If you deliver excellent results, your clients are going to be happy and they're going to tell two friends. One of Sherry's clients referred 10 more. And for us, if you calculated, if you're charging by the hour, how many hours, how many clients you would need to reach six figures. For me, it was like back then, it was about charging $1,000 for 12 sessions. That would have been 100 clients. So one of our six-figure health coaches, Sherry, had one of her clients refer 10 more. That only happens if you're delivering excellent results. Another six-figure health coach of ours, Connie, has 4 generations. And so that means her client loved it so much that they referred their child, their parent, and their grandparent. That only happens if you deliver excellent results. And doesn't it feel good to be with a good one that's doing really great? You cannot be an expert at everything. You cannot be a health coach and be expert, but you can be the expert at one thing. And the one thing I know for sure that you're an expert is you are the world's leading expert at being you. Nobody does you better than you. So lean into that. We'll talk more about that when we teach on niche, but excellent results. So excellence is our strategy. We'll talk more about the alternatives to business plan, but what you want to do is know that your client, okay, this will be, know that your client, I don't want to be disrespectful, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to take them from, okay, I am not an artist. I keep drawing amoebas and things. This is supposed to be a caterpillar, and this over here is supposed to be a butterfly, okay? So that's supposed to be a butterfly. And so if we're going to take this client from where they are now to where they want to be, there's a transformation that happens. Let's say you just want to have a program and you give them your program of so many sessions, even if it's 12 or 6 months or whatever it is. I was talking to somebody today who offered 3,000 for, I think it was a 3-month program, which is pretty healthy, right? It was super hard for her to sell it. She only did it twice. She had been doing, she was burned out, etc., right? So, but a lot of you are like, wow, that'd be great. If I was able to do that, that would be awesome. I'll tell you, our six-figure health coaches, they start off, they don't charge that high. So that is one way, but it is a hard way. If you can't say it, if people won't buy it, that's going to be hard. Remember, that's going to burn you out. But also, we start to go, so let's say you're starting off at 0, then you get a client and they pay through 3,000 and you're like, this is awesome, and you're working with them, and then you're done and you're back to 0. And then you go again and you get another client and then, okay, this is awesome. And then this feast and famine is exhausting because you go down to 0 and you don't know if you're going to have another client ever again. It's exhausting. You can't pay your mortgage based on that. It's terrifying. And when you work with your client for 3 months and love them and leave them, they're good as long as the world around them is good. But as soon as you let go of their hand, they're going to default to the old way that they've been doing for the last 20, 50 years. And so they're good until the birth, the death, the move, the stressor happens, and then they're going to go back eating all those things that they know they shouldn't. They'll stop exercising, they'll stop doing all those things. Instead, we have to rewire that neurocircuitry. I always tell my clients the distance between you and six figures is the 6 inches between your ears. We have to carve out a new path. If you're used to being broke and burned out, we got to keep zigging when you normally would have zagged. That's the key. So that's a metamorphosis, transformation here. I don't know, I guess, is that a chrysalis? That should be easier for me to draw. There we go. That's a chrysalis. So we got it. This takes a little minute. And so rather than like cutting them off here or here, getting them some results and defaulting into their old ways, we want to create what I call is an offer series, something that to support them. When we talk about business model and signature programs in my other videos, I'm going to dive into that. But we want to avoid this, and we want to create income that is like this, so that the more you're in your business, it just gets better and better. And you go, I love my life. That's what I want all of you to come back to me and say, I love my life, because you get to enjoy your life too. And so this is because we have that continuity in there, and your clients are getting better and better and better results. So I'll dive more into the specifics in upcoming, but just get the process that the business model matters, and we can't trade time for money. And we want to design it in a way that gets our client from point A to point P. Great example is Connie, our six-figure health coach that doesn't even have a social media account. In her first year, 12 months, she went from 0 to 100K, no social media. Some of you are like, yeah, how's that possible? I've been doing this so long. I've been doing it before there was social media. So social media is great. A lot of our clients use it, but it's not the end all and the be all. And there are some pluses and minuses, and you don't want to burn out. But in the second year, okay, the second year, in the first 3 months, oops, not 30. In the first 3 months, she was already at 50K. 50K. 12 months to get to 100K, 3 months to get to 50K, right? So it's like this, scaling, so that as your income goes up, your time goes up, not down like a traditional job. That's the secret. There's a few little key details here. This only happens if you're delivering excellent results. Okay, so now that we have your offer, which includes your niche, your signature program, your signature program that delivers results, your business model, your business plan that's not going to burn you out when you implement it, so you don't have to get to 40K with your tongue hanging out. Now that we have that, that's all under offer. Now, client attraction system. We need to have a way to attract clients. If we don't have a way to attract clients, we're the best kept secret. Okay, so we can't quit here. So we start with the niche, then we have to attract these people to us. Okay, so we have to have a system. So a couple of things, we'll do another video on this step in particular and dive deep. One of the ways that you attract people is by having a niche. So Lisbeth, one of our clients, she was trying to help people with burnout, and she was 10 years post-certification, had been a nurse for decades, and in that time before coming to us, she had 0 paying clients. We carved out her niche from burnout, which is still pretty broad, to helping nurses with cervical dystonia. I'll tell more of that story in the niche. And boom, that allowed her to stand out from the crowd. Now, only about half of her clients actually have cervical dystonia, but when you say, I help these people very specifically with this problem, I help nurses with cervical dystonia get out of pain, improve their mobility so that they can enjoy their life. They're like, well, I don't have cervical dystonia, but I have back pain. Could you help me? And notice what happens is they ask you, and then you're like, oh, I don't know, let's have a chat. Now they're chasing you instead of you chasing them, getting your gun and hunting people down. So they're coming to you. So client attraction. So niche is important. Having a way to articulate what you do, I call it a power statement. We'll talk about that when we do the video on this. Having a way to articulate what you do in a way that your ideal client can hear it. A lot of people use coach speak, and you're inadvertently just spraying client repellent all over. So they don't understand what you're talking about, the enzymes and this and that and the other thing. They don't know. and they're like, oh, well, if the people just need to know more about nutrition, or people just need to know about, people need to have more support or accountability or hold space or whatever it is. That's not what they're lying awake at night thinking, right? Or people just need to know that I've had all of these degrees and I know what I'm talking about. Nope, they're not lying awake at night saying, man, if I could just find someone who had a lot of degrees. No, they're saying, if I could just find someone who would help me get rid of my knee pain, who would help me get rid of my belly fat. So we have to attract them. And so this client attractive messaging is important, but we have to have a way to have your light pop so that your niche is important. Excellent results is important. So all of these things work together. Excellent results. When you have excellent results, word gets out and you get referrals. So excellent results, referrals, the niche, and then we want some sort of process. This is where funnels come in. I'm going to let you know big high picture what I am a big fan of. Because what I know about health coaches, you love to teach, you love to heal, you suck at sales, right? And suck at marketing generally. So I'm a big fan of educational marketing. So that is very client attractive. That's my favorite. Everybody wins, even if they never became your client. You've done service, you've done good work. So you talk to ideally these people and show them how to go from here to here. And some people will be like, listen to you for 50 seconds and go, that's enough for me. Some of you, well, you wouldn't still be here. And some of you are like, I'm not your cup of tea. All good. She can't draw, so forget it. And so the same thing will happen to you. Some people are like going to resonate with you and some not. So you've shone your light, you've spoken your truth, and some of those people, your people who really, really, really want help, are going to come and say, hey, do that for me. Could you help me? They're going to raise their hand and say, do that for me. So we're going to set it up so that we have an environment so that the people who are wanting our help know that you exist. And it's not about your credentials, it's what you can deliver for them. Okay, so that client attraction is is 1, 2, 3. Why do I have 4? Is number 4. And then the 5th step is sales. So what I like to teach is a heart-centered diagnostic sales method. And so what we want to do is looking at knowing our niche, we're going to have a series of questions. I have what I call the diagnostic dozen, and we're going to find out where are people at and where do they want to be. So what's their point A, their ideal client problems? What are the things that they're struggling with? What is their dream come true? What is their desired outcome that they're wanting? And then why do they want it? We're going to ask those questions about why do they want this? Because if they have a burning desire, if they really want it, they're going to get it. But if people don't really care about, like, it doesn't matter if I lose the weight, it doesn't matter if I get rid of the pain, if they don't really care, then we're just going to let them be. Because if failure is an option, they will. They might as well do it on their own time. But if they're like, I don't want to stay stuck here anymore, and I really want this, if they really want it, then those are the best clients. But if they don't really care and you want their health more than they do, you'll be like, come on, I can help you be healthy. Come on. And it's dragging bodies, and that is no fun. So you definitely want to ask, why do they want it and how serious they are about getting that. Not everybody cares about this. Okay. So what do they want? That helps them get towards here. And then what is standing in their way? What is the obstacle that is preventing them? Why haven't they already done this? Because the truth is, if they coulda, they woulda. So we want to find out what's stopping them. Then and notice when we're talking about it, this is all a great diagnostic sales method is all about them. It is about them. It is not about you. It is not about your program. So too many health coaches will talk about, I got these many modules and I've done this many certifications and here's my technique for this, that, and the other thing. They don't care. They care about one thing. How do they go from here to here? So we want to lead with love. We want to make it about them. and we want to find out how serious are they. And you're looking at what's their problem? Do you know how to solve their problem? Can you be the path of least resistance that overcomes their obstacles? Do I know how to solve it? Do they want it solved? And do I want to help them solve it? And if all those things are a yes, 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 they're going to be your client. All right. So that's the heart-centered diagnostic sales method. So once we've attracted them, so in summary, let's piece all of this together, because there's a lot. There's those three pillars. We have the offer that's made up of your niche, your signature program, and your business plan. Then once we have that offer, we need a client attraction system. Once we have that client attraction system, we want to invite them into what we offer. That's the heart-centered diagnostic sales method. That call is valuable for that clarity, even if you don't offer to help them in your program, and even if they don't accept. They will now know exactly what is their problem, and they're getting clear on whether this means something to them or not, and they get to want what they want. Okay, so now that we've got our diagnostic sales method, let's put all of this together. We've covered a lot of ground. Let's put it all together in a roadmap. So let's bring this into a roadmap. One thing I know about you is you're smart. You figured some things out about your health. Maybe you have background in training. And I looked at, okay, I was a doctor. Why can't I figure out this health coaching thing? I knew that I was capable of learning. I went through medical school. I knew I could learn. But the thing is, nobody had really taught you, how do we go from point A to point B? How do we build this type of a business? You might have even done another business, but this type of business where nobody's really even looking for you, it's different than some other businesses. And so we're missing the roadmap. But when we piece this all together and you have the roadmap, that's how you can go from 0 to 6 figures. So let's bring this up and look at the roadmap and bring all of these things that we've been talking about. So what we really want is to follow the yellow brick road. And what you're really wanting is clients. That's why you're here. You want to make a difference. You want to help people. All of you are looking to help clients. In order to have a client, we have to talk to somebody who's not yet our client. That's a prospect. And so in order to bring up someone from a prospect to a client, we need to have a sales system. And then in order to have someone that you're on a sales call with, we have to have got them from somebody who is not yet on a sales call, and that's a lead. And so in order to have a lead, we need to have a client attraction system from the people who become aware of us. The other way to attract clients is by having a niche, as we were talking about. And then another way to attract clients is by delivering excellent results that lead to referrals. And how we have clients that get excellent results that lead to those referrals is by having a signature program, which is a system for results. There we go, a system for results. And so we want all of these systems, but then we must have a 6-figure business plan so that when we fulfill it, we're not burning out. We know that it will lead to 6 figures without burning out, making that impact. So we need these systems. And when we bring this all together, that's what I call the complete 6-figure health coach blueprint. We have a system. I've licensed the system with all of the little teeny tiny pieces that make up every little aspect of this. So bringing this all together, that's the roadmap to have you going from wherever you are now, even if it's 0, all the way to 6 figures without burning out. Again, if you want to have this customized to you, because you might have, yeah, but you don't understand my unique situation, let me hear about it. So you can put some comments below, but even better, I'm going to put a link. And if you can find a spot to one of my small group trainings on how to go from 0 to 6 figures without paid ads, burnout, social media hamster wheels, if you can see a spot, go for it. So they're free, but you have to apply. So I'll put a link there. And then the very first part of this entire roadmap is that niche. It is so important. Everything else stems from that niche. So in this next video, I'm going to show you how to carve out your purpose-driven expert niche so that you can track those clients, those people that you know you're meant to serve, make the difference that you know you're meant to make. So I'll see you over there in the next video. Feel free to share this with your health coaching friends too. I want more of you getting your healing gifts out there. I'll see you in the next video. Be good for you.